Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 8 of 4Play Gaming Podcast. I'm here with Co-Reed.
And I'm here with Darlord.
I'm here with Garbo.
And I'm here with Griffin.
And we are going to be talking about the hottest in gaming news. We're going to start it off. I ain't got a towel anywhere. We're going to have to figure that out. I don't know. We're going to start off here with Overwatch 2, revitalizing the Overwatch 2 experience. So Overwatch has been kind of a very interesting and perplexing game since they released it on Steam. You know, it was Blizzard exclusive, of course, console. Mm-hmm. They released Overwatch 2, made all these promises, made it free to play, the whole, focus their monetization on cosmetics. Yes, yeah. Overwatch 2 is, yeah.
Why not buy it?
To get all the characters. That's why I bought it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like the same way as Paladins.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. But it's kind of had, we don't know what the numbers are on Blizzard or on their launcher, but we do know what the Steam numbers are, and the Steam numbers aren't great, and they got reviewed bombed. It's been a whole thing, especially when they announced that they were going to be kind of pivoting away from a PvE story experience and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to come in and revitalize the game. So there's a lot of updates going on with the competitive experience and how ranked works and how you gain points and lose points and all that stuff. Don't really care anything about that, right? Because I don't play it competitively. For the people out there, you can go to the, Overwatch or Blizzard website and find this and read on that. But what I did want to talk about here was introducing changes to core gameplay here. So, beyond the competitive rework, Season 9 features major changes to the fundamentals of Overwatch 2 gameplay that affect every hero. We've heard the community feedback around some gameplay pain points and developed changes to the core gameplay with these goals in mind. Deliver a more consistent feel to firing and landing your shots on your opponents. Lessen the impacts of burst damage to allow for greater counterplay. Adjust where in-game healing and damage are effective to reduce stagnant team fights. All of these changes have been designed to work in combination to balance each other out. And we're excited for you to get in the game and experience them all at once. So, first up, making your shots feel good to hit. One of our main goals with these adjustments is to make firing your weapons and abilities feel more consistent without impacting the time to eliminate a target and without removing the overall feel of gameplay we all know and love. When examining how burst damage values have changed over time, we found that in most cases, they've gone down in raw value, though that may not necessarily mean they become weaker relative to other changes. The 5v5 environment and new heroes of Overwatch 2 certainly factor into the perspective, but it's often overlooked that the player base's average skill level, game knowledge, and pace of gameplay are relatively higher now than when the game first launched. So they're changing the projectile sizes, and they're changing the speeds and sizes of them. So, plus 0.05 meters for hit scan projectiles with a high rate of fire or spread. For example, Tracer's Pulse Pistols or Reaper's Hellfire Shotgun. Plus 0.08 meters for hit scan projectiles that are more precise, such as Cassidy's Peacekeeper or Soldier 76's Heavy Pulse Rifle. Plus 0.05 meters for travel time projectiles that are shotguns or have a very high rate of fire, so Roadhog's Scrap Gun or Ramatra's Void Accelerator. Plus 0.10 meters for travel time projectiles with a speed greater than 50 meters per second, so Zenyatta's Destruction Orb. Plus 0.15 meters for travel time projectiles with a speed less than or equal to 50 meters per second, so Farah's Rocket Launcher. And very large projectiles with a base size greater than 0.5 meters have been excluded from these increases. For example, Orissa's Energy Javelin and Reinhardt's Fire Strike. When it comes to aiming as a mechanical skill requirement, even players with excellent aim often mention how it can feel random whether a shot hits or not. due largely in part to the whip speed movement acceleration heroes have when changing directions. Combined with all of the dashing, leaping, teleporting abilities, hitting your target can be very difficult. Crisp, responsive movement is important to the core gameplay feel, so we wouldn't want to just slow down player movement. Instead, we're improving hit consistency by making both damage dealing hit scan and travel time projectiles larger. Heroes that have weapons or abilities that don't benefit from any projectile size changes will receive additional balance changes. However, we don't want to make too many hero adjustments before getting a better understanding of the effects of these initial changes. So tune in for more on individual heroes in future updates. Next, adjusting the health pools. Since we're increasing the average accuracy of nearly all heroes, we want to keep time to kill similar. We've also increased everyone's maximum health. We've already balanced damage values, damage boosts, critical damage breakpoints, and other factors around 200 to 250 HP heroes. So the new health ends up requiring at least one more hit from most heroes to eliminate an enemy. So the health pool changes are 150 to 175 HP heroes got an increase by 25 HP, 200 to 300 got an increase by 50 HP, and 300 plus, which are tanks, got an increase of 75 to 100 HP, giving more self-reliance in team fights. We also want to make sure that the flow of the team fight doesn't take away from individual player decisions that can determine the outcome of a match. Tanks already have a significant role in each team fight, as they often are the ones to take space and determine where each fight takes place, whereas we want to enable more critical decision making among the damage and support roles. The change to projectile size and health pools effectively reduce the impact of burst damage and tones down the relative strength of healing, meaning it will take longer to heal someone from 1 HP to full health. To ease the friction of an increased time to fully heal allies out of combat, enable support players to make more informed decisions on who to heal, everyone can now regenerate health passively at a rate of 20 healing per second after 5 seconds of not taking damage, and the support role passive heal has been adjusted to 2.5 seconds. An increase to health pools and weakening of burst damage means that heroes live longer and team fights will take longer to conclude. To combat some of the potential extreme situations here, we're also introducing a new damage passive, empowering them to more easily fulfill their role in securing eliminations, reduce in-combat healing, and potentially add an additional strategic layer to focus firing targets. So the new passives are all new heroes are going to be able to passively regenerate 20 HP per second after not taking damage for 5 seconds. The new damage roll passive is going to cause anti-healing by 20% to whoever they are shooting. The updated support roll passive, they will begin regenerating health after 2.5 seconds. And tank roll passive reduces knockback received, less ultimate charge generated by healing and damage received, increase health in roll queue game modes. At its core, Overwatch 2 is a competitive game. So it's important for the core systems and competitive system to be as intuitive and accessible as possible. In addition to these core system changes, we're introducing reworks to Farah and Junkertown, which we'll go into in a later blog. For now, let us know what you think when Overwatch 2 Season 9 Champions launches on February the 13th. So, they're making tons of changes. So they're basically increasing the size of a lot of the projectiles in the game, because that is one of the pain points that, and I'll go through and kind of give my pain points and then we'll flip it over. The amount of characters that have projectiles and the size of those projectiles in Overwatch compared to like Paladins, because that makes the most sense, right? To compare those two, because they're both hero shooters. Overwatch definitely takes more, I wouldn't say more skill, but more game knowledge and map knowledge.
Teamwork.
Yeah, because you have to understand how your projectiles work, how fast they travel. Each projectile in the game seems to travel at a different speed and at a different rate. And it's hard whenever you have some great characters that have great abilities, but you can't land a shot. It sucks. It is weird that like hit scan characters are having their projectile size increased. I mean, they're hit scan characters, right? So Yeah, so it's kind of weird to me that they're increasing the size of the projectiles for that, but some of these other ones make sense. Increasing
You
health.
like the healing thing?
Yeah. So this is what I'll say.
Because you do die fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem with Overwatch that I felt, because after playing Paladins for many years and not really playing Overwatch, and then going into Overwatch 2, whenever it dropped, whenever we experienced it,
Yeah.
your team comp was like what, 2 damage, 1 tank, and 2 support characters.
Correct.
But if you're playing a flanking type damage character, or someone that is like trying to either do poke damage or trying to get the drop on an enemy, unless you position yourself around the health packs, then you're just kind of DOA, right?
Yeah,
because the supports are not going to be able to get to you. So I don't understand why they didn't make this change when they went from Overwatch to Overwatch 2 anyway.
should have just been in the game, yeah.
But like, what game other than Overwatch that has a multiplayer component other than a BR, which still has it, where you have to manually wait for someone to come and heal you, even when you're out of combat for an extended amount of time? It does put more importance on the support characters at that point. But whenever you're used to playing every other game in the world, every other game except for a battle royale, where characters, whenever you're out of combat, and it's usually 3 to 5 seconds, you start passively regenerating your health at various rates depending on the game. That was one thing I didn't like, because you can try to get in and do explosive damage, but that doesn't mean anything if you get focus fired and then they've got a support that's healing everybody back up. It makes the damage classes feel less useful as an off-flank type class, as opposed to the way it feels in other games like Paladins, for example, because there's a lot of sustain that the flanks have built into characters for Paladins specifically. And increasing the health pools makes sense because you're making the projectiles bigger, which in theory should make players hit more shots, which in theory would balance itself out in the long run by increasing their base HP up, and then also allowing them to gain healing over time whenever they're out of combat. So, Garbo, Overwatch 2, these 3 main things: the projectile sizes, the health pool changes for all the characters, and the healing out of combat. What do you think about it?
Well, the healing out of combat kind of reminds me of Paladins. Sure. Like, that's something that Paladins already has in their game. They
Right.
do those, like, I don't know how long you're out, but if you're out of the circle, or out of combat, you start healing. So maybe they've actually taken that, and I think that's a good idea. Because, like, dude, if your healer's not healing,
Yeah, you're
you
fucked.
will pay for it.
Yeah.
You will pay for it. And I know that they have like little heal spots around the areas, but if you're not somebody that like memorizes where the heal locations are, or you're in just one of those tight situations that you can't get to one, I think that'll be beneficial. Most of the time, they're probably not going to live if they're trying to get a way to heal. I still think that's a good thing to implement in the game, though, just so it kind of keeps the pace going, keeps the action, keeps a lot of momentum, I guess, instead of it being like, oh, I know where this hill spot is, I'm just going to bail out like a lot of Overwatch players do. They just, once they get so low, they just bail.
Yeah.
The different sizes, I think that's a really good change, because there are some times that like I feel like I'm doing things when I'm shooting in Overwatch too, and I'm not hitting shots. And so, like, maybe overall, maybe some of that could have been just like the old mechanics or something like that. They're trying to transition from Overwatch 1 to 2. I think that'll be a better one as well. And I like the health extension, like even the health extension, like extension, not health, where they increase all the health. I think that's also pretty good, because like, dude, the game itself is like, because of its 6 people, 2 DPSs, 2 supports, and in a tank. It's just so fast paced. Like, it really is. It's extremely fast paced. So, like, I feel like that was to compensate for all the, the damage ticking, and like as soon as you get into a fight, you're down. Like as soon as you get in there, like
It's chaotic, man.
Even what Dirt Lord says sometimes when we're playing Paladins, he's like, it's got too much damage. There's too much damage. Like,
too much.
Yeah, there's too much. Like it's the same scenario. Like it's just too much damage, and so like increasing their health actually like is beneficial here. So.
Do you think that this will have any detrimental effects to the game overall, Corey? Like, as being someone that played Overwatch 1, going into Overwatch 2, and playing around those core mechanics the way that they came into Overwatch 2, now them being changes, them being changed, do you think that that'll have a detrimental effect to the players and the player base, or do you think that overall it will help onboard new players easier?
I think it can go either way depending on how it plays out. Like, I have to get into the game and get a feel for how it's gonna go. But it could really bring players back to the game or new players to it if it starts feeling better and more competitive than it did. Like Dirt said, my biggest issue in it is I just feel like I was dying too fast all the time. Like, no matter what, and that more than Paladins.
I'd rather play Paladins,
I wouldn't even necessarily be getting focused by multiple people, but you'd still be getting burnt down. I like that they increased the health. I like that they added the out of combat healing. I don't understand increasing the hit scan characters bullet size, which is kind of weird, but I don't like that they added like a permanent cauterized type effect, the negative 20% to healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like the healing in that game was really hit and miss.
Yeah. Well,
like there was a couple characters that really healed well, and other ones just wasn't really usable.
Yeah.
To me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Paladins recently did that, where they just put permanent cauterize.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, here you go. You ain't gonna buy that no more.
I don't like that in Paladins either. I think I liked it much better when you could buy it.
Well, and people, you need the skill of knowing you need it. That was a
big part of it too. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. The thing with the anti-heal that they're giving to the damage characters, it's like, I understand that they want to like increase the effectiveness of DPS characters, but the thing with DPS characters is like they're burst characters. They're going to do massive amounts of damage. They're going to pour tons of damage out, and then they're going to piss off for a little while until their cooldowns for their abilities come back up. So it's like you're introducing. So if this works the way that I think that it's going to work, they're going to have anti-heal, 20% anti-heal for an X amount of duration after that last bullet hits someone. It may be like as soon as that person stops taking damage, but I don't understand, like, there doesn't have to be that. Remove the health packs off of the map, make team comps rely solely on their healers and their out of combat healing. Because if you're in combat, you're not going to be passively healing, so you're not going to have a need to stop that healing unless you shoot the person. So it's like, it doesn't make sense to me. They could have adjusted damage values. They could have adjusted healing values. They could have removed the healing items off of the maps and not even put in this stupid anti-healing mechanic into the game.
Was the healing item still going to be there?
Yeah.
Even though now you heal.
Yeah.
You got the heal, tick, it comes back.
Yeah.
Plus your healer.
Yes. Plus the health packs.
And you can run to an area.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's got to go.
Well, and to me, that's what it seems like that they're, because if you're actively in a firefight and you're playing around a health drop.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah, it's got to go.
The game.
Yeah. So they could have just disabled that. I know that this is like a legacy thing, a legacy feature that's coming over, that came over from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2, but it's not necessary.
If it's not working now, then get rid of it. This is Overwatch 2.
Well, it sounds like they're desperate.
Well, it sounds...
Numbers are down.
Yeah. And it sounds like
they're down. I mean, we left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, and the thing with Overwatch is like, there's so much...
I'd rather play Paladins.
Well, because the ability to not only sustain yourself, but have your teammates, such as your support characters, be able to help sustain you. Because to me,
card system
in Overwatch, whenever you get into an engagement, it didn't feel like your healers were as impactful as they are in other games. And the reason why they didn't feel that way was because Cauterize existed in Paladins, because you were able to heal for much more. You were able to put cards and buy items to allow you to get healed even more. Health packs on the map is stupid. Like, I'm sorry for anybody that loves it, but it's the dumbest thing in the world.
It's fucking stupid.
We're not playing Unreal Tournament back in 98. Like, we can get rid of them. It's okay to get rid of them. But you're taking so much damage so consistently, you're not getting that out of combat healing. So whenever you get out of a gunfight, like a team fight, if your team wins, you have to wait until the healer takes their time to heal everybody up while the team is respawning to have another fight. It's like,
or get back.
Yeah,
If they're
right.
dead, you're like, all right, we got to group up. You know, they're taking the point.
Exactly. So
Here we go again.
it's just, to me, putting the anti-healing and the damage roll makes no sense. I think if anything, they should have put something in there to give damage negation, I guess is what you call it. Something that denies a percentage of damage. Well, it's like if you're a damage character, whenever you get below, let's say that you get to 50 HP, then you should take
less damage.
You do less and you take less. That way you can sustain your damage, your DPS for a little bit longer. That way they can try to get out of a gunfight, try to either passively heal or let the support character, or what about that? You give instead of giving anti-healing, whenever you get below 50 HP, you receive more healing until you get to 100 when you're getting healed by a support character. And that way it keeps the DPS in the fight longer, and it forces the support characters to not focus on spam healing the tank.
Well, and since they don't have the card system, because that's where Paladins really shines.
Mm-hmm.
Your loadout is going to determine.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What you can do. And it's superior.
Yeah. So it's better. With all these changes in Mind Dirt, what do you think about it? Does this make you want to try it again?
I mean, I'll try it. I'll get on there and fucking pull my hair out one more night, you know? It is rough. I do like that you can heal.
Yes.
That's nice. It should have had that before. I mean, what game? Like you said.
Yeah.
What game do you not regen your healing in? Oh, Battlezone, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
another terrible game mode. Like,
yeah.
So I like that, but I'd rather play Paladins at the end of the day.
Yeah, for real. I mean, because being able to have sustain, and that's the thing, like with Paladins, there's so many different ebbs and flows to team fights because you have the ability to pick whoever you want to. You're not locked into a certain role like you are in Overwatch. And then also there's ways for you to go in, do a bunch of damage, get out, heal up real quick, and then you can re-engage into that point fight, as opposed to Overwatch is like it's a battle of attrition.
Like, sometimes you may not be able to get that payload there, but you can get that fucking point.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay on that, bitch. Hold it down.
Yeah. So this should make for more, to me, if I was someone that was watching people play Overwatch or watching competitive Overwatch happen, this would make things more interesting because you're going to have characters that are going to be dipping in and out of these team fights, trying to heal up a little bit, not relying on the support characters, giving them more authority to heal the people that they need to heal, like their tanks. It's going to create an interesting synergy. I'm interested to see how the overall community feels about this. But the last thing I wanted to hit on was it's amazing because the way that I found out about these Overwatch changes was from the Paladins community, because the Paladins community is like, oh, here's Overwatch stealing more of our, stealing more stuff from Paladins, blah, 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 blah. And it's like,
they don't have the card system.
I think it goes both ways, though.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It goes both ways.
The original idea was stolen.
Yeah.
But the card system was put in. It's completely different.
Yeah. So
it is.
To me, it's like Overwatch is doing, in my opinion, a better job at onboarding new players into their game by streamlining a lot of these systems in this update, whereas Paladins just had a major update and they made the game much more complicated than it ever needed to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we've just gone in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Paladins went away. Overwatch is coming in,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. So, and whenever you talk to people that are just getting into Paladins, they're like, they're just bombarded with all this information. You've got to learn how 50 different characters play. You got to figure out how the game modes play. You got to figure out the card system and what the cards do. Figure out the item system and what the items do. In Overwatch, you have to learn the characters, you learn the abilities, and that's it. Like you have a couple of different game modes that you play. You have King of the Hill, you have Payload. That's about it. You know what I mean? Like you just jump in and you do the thing. You either push the cart or you just lock a zone down.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's very interesting, and that's where I think Blizzard and Activision and Overwatch themselves are making the better decisions overall than what Hi-Rez is making with Paladins.
When does the update drop?
The 13th.
I mean, we gotta get on there and try.
Yeah, next weekend I'm definitely I'm gonna peep it and see how it feels and everything. Because I mean, my biggest issue,
I can take a little stress.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you got the blood pressure medication.
Stressful.
Yeah, it is. Right. Yeah,
but that healing that may change everything.
Exactly. Right.
That was what was stressful. Was like, man, I'm not healing. I'm the healer, and I'm just dying over here because I'm not being healed.
Yeah. Right. So. Well, we'll see how this plays out overall. I think I'm very interested to see how the community responds to this because the community for the most part has been overwhelmingly positive about the Paladins changes. I've seen a couple of comments on the video that I put up that was like, yeah, this ain't the move. Like what they're doing doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of people, and it gets referenced constantly. The community likes it, so why don't you? Well,
they're like, this ain't the move.
It's not. You want more players to come in and you want the game to be accessible. If you want the game to be complicated, that's fine. There's MOBAs out there that are more complicated.
There's complicated games to go play.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can play Smite, which is basically more or less a version of what Paladins is, but more complicated. So that exists already.
And they're making a part 2. So go hop on that one.
So I'm kind of excited about it because the projectile changes and because my biggest problem was like, you have to learn
not hit my shots.
Yes, you have to learn these different speeds with all these different characters, and everybody's hip hopping around, and everybody's doing backflips, and
I'm surprised they changed the projectile and not like the hitbox.
I'm glad they didn't.
It was a different way. Yeah, they went at a different way. Normally, the hitbox are like just fucking open that thing up.
Yeah, right.
That way, every gun just hits you if it's pointed at your direction. It's like okay, they went the other way.
Yeah, which is
and
nice.
that's what Rogue. They're like, just make the hitbox bigger.
Yeah, right.
Make it massive.
Yeah, but I'm excited for these changes. I'm excited. We tried Paladins out. It is what it is. I mean, it's still same old. But like, there was some changes. I'm interested to play Overwatch and see how that fares in 2024. I think it'll be all right. Hopefully, the community will receive these changes well. I think if they make a couple of minor tweaks with maybe the anti-healing thing and a couple other things, it'll be perfectly fine. But hey, for me personally, this is the last thing I'm going to say. I enjoy a long-lasting team fight. That's what I enjoy the most.
It's so fucking fun.
Yes.
When you get in the zone and just like, oh man, everybody's just fighting for their life.
Yeah, I love it.
And then when you win, it's like, oh, it feels so good.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. But this is on a right direction for me personally. I'm excited.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah,